We're going to go over graphing piecewise functions. So we're going to be graphing pieces of functions together. So with my first piece, I'm going to make a table. I start with the number -1. It is a closed dot because of that equal sign. And then I plug in numbers that go to the left. So -1 to the left would be -2 and -3. I plug those numbers in. There's no x value, which means all of my solutions will be -3. If I try to plug it in, there's nowhere to put it. -3, -3. Left 1 down 3, left 2 down 3, 3 down 3, and it would continue to the left and it would create a line. I make a table for this one because the squared, we know it will make a parabola or a U shape. I start with -1. It's an open dot, and I go to the right because of that inequality sign. So I'm going to plug in 0, +1, +2. I plug it in. I would type negative parenthesis -1 squared plus 4, enter, that'd be a 3. Then you'd plug in a 0 and see what you get, 4, plug in a 1, plug in a 2, so I have -1 up, 1, 2, 3, open dot. From there on out, all the rest are closed, 0, 4, 1 up 3, 2, 0, and there's your parabola. Example 2. Table. I start with 0 with a closed dot because of the equal sign. To the left would be -1 and -2. I plug it in, plug in -1, plug in -2, and that's going to be a line and it will continue to the left. Second piece of our function, make my table. I plug a 0 in and it's an open dot. Numbers to the right would be 1 and 2. I'm going to put 3. 0 squared is 0. 1, 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. Open dot, they end up overlapping, so it fills in. Over 1 up 1. 2 up, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 3 up, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's the parabola. Because of that x squared, it's going to make a U shape. Example 3, I make a table for this first piece. I start with a 1, open dot. To the left would be 0, -1, -2. -1 plus 2 is 1, 2, 3, 4. Over 1 up 1, open dot, 0 up 2, -1 up 3, 4. It would continue and be a line up to the left. This middle section, I'm only allowed to go between 1 to 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't go outside of that. 1 is a closed dot, 5 would be an open dot. I try and plug it in. There's nowhere to plug in, so my answer would be 2. Once again, try and plug it in. Answer's 2. Over 1 up 2, closed. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is an open. There are no arrows on this one because it's stuck between 1 and 5. This one should be written as x is greater than 5, which means I start with 5 and I go to the right, so I plug in 6 and 7, and it's an open dot. Plug 5 in, that'd be half of 5 is 2.5, plus 1 is 3.5. Half of 6 is 3, plus 1 is 4. Half of 7 is 3.5, which would be 4.5. 3.5. Then 6 up, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4.5. So it's going up by halves, and I draw my line. Example 4. I have x, y. I start with -2, open dot. I go to the left, so -3, -4. Plug it in. -2 plus 5 is 3, 2, 1. Open dot. 1, 2, 3. So we'd continue going to the left. I start with -2. It's a closed dot. Going to the right would be -1, 0, 1, 2. I plug it into my equation. -2 times -2 is 4, 3. 2 minus 1, 1. -1. -2, -3, -4, -5. So I would go -2 up 1, 2, 3, fill in the dot. -1 up 1, 0 down 1, 1 down 3, and then 2 down 5. So the pattern's down 2 over 1. That was a little off. X, Y. Put 1 to start with a closed dot. Left of that would be 0, -1, -2. I plug it in. 1 plus 3 is 4. Absolute value of 4 stays a 4. Times -2 is -8. 0 plus 3 is 3. 3 times -2 is -6. And they're staying negatives because the negative is outside absolute. It won't change. -1 plus 3 is 2. -2 plus 3 is 1. I'm going to keep plugging in until I get the V, because this should make a V shape because of the absolute values. -3 plus 3 is 0. -4 plus 3 is -1. Absolute value of -1 would make it a positive. I multiply it by -2, and there is your V shape. Over 1, down 8. And then because it went down here, I can follow my pattern to the left. So it went up. Then because it's absolute, it became a V and went back down. X, Y. Put 1 as my first, open dot, 2, 3, 4. Plug it in, -2 plus 1, 0. -2 plus 3 is 1, 2. +1, down 1, open. 2, 0, 3, 1, 4, 2. It would continue to the right. Example 6, X, Y. I start with -3, open dot. It goes to the left, so -4, -5. I plug it in. So let's see. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Then I plug in negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Squared would make a positive 1. Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. Oops, open dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 2. Negative 6 would be negative 3. Negative 3 squared is 9. 9, 8, 7. There's my parabola curving up. And my absolute value should make a V. So I'm going to have negative 3, open dot. Then I go to the right, so negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. I'm going to plug them in. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. Multiplied, still a 0. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2, minus 2, 0. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Minus 2 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. 1 plus 3. Let's see, 1 plus 3 is 4. Times 2 is 8. 7, 6. 5, 10, 10, 8. 1, 2, 3. Down 2. 0 up 4, 6, 8. If I continue going, it would go off the graph. And we're done. So it should make a V, but the V would end up being on the left side, and it went off the graph, so you get a stop. And that's how you do that's how you graph piecewise functions.